Welcome to What Matters Most.
We are dedicated to educating the community about holistic, metaphysical, and spiritual topics.
Each week, we discuss things that matter most in life, the things that are most important to you that may have fallen to the wayside.
We are always centered on the idea of simplifying life, connecting with our neighbors, and following our true paths.
Our mission is to empower you to live the life that you've always dreamed of living.
We invite you to focus your life on what matters most. Hi, you're listening to What Matters Most. I'm Kristen.
And this is Maria.
From Experience Nirvana. Today we're speaking about color. And it's a fabulous time of the year to be talking about it because it's almost spring. Thank you, Jesus.
I'm really excited about having Elizabeth later on in the show because I am a person that absolutely adores color. You know my closet. It's just full of color surrounds me. I just can't get enough of it.
Exactly. So we're going to be having Elizabeth Harper on, who is a ColorScope oracle. She's an intuitive. She knows all about color, and she's a psychic artist as well. So she will be on a little bit later in the show. But I think that color is something that not all of us really think about on a day-to-day basis. Especially, the first thing you do when you get up in the morning, is put on your outfit for the day. I think that maybe we can all start being a little bit more conscientious about what colors we're picking out of the closet. I think that's a great way to at least start. I don't know a whole lot about color, and I'm sure Elizabeth can give us a little bit more insight a little bit later, but I know that, color is very significant as to what is going on in your life. So maybe by choosing a color of what you're going to wear for the day, thinking about your emotions and what you want to have, your intentions for your day, you can be very conscientious about it.
I'll be honest with you. I really, I actually look at color and I'm drawn to color, and it's something that's always been innate to me. Again, I think I always felt that the reason I did that was that it's my own little way of rebelling, of being selective of color.
I see.
Picking color and really resonating to colors that are very bright and brilliant. Mm-hmm. I always kind of felt that it was because of the fact that I was still rebelling against 8 years of wearing navy blue, which I detested and hated so much in my life. And
why did you wear 8 years of navy blue?
Well, because I went to 8 years of Catholic school, and that was the uniform. And so I, as a person, always felt like, in my mind, I remember, go back, saying to myself, you know what? Someday I'm going to have a closet full of clothes and it's going to be every color. So I just kind of always thought that it was a rebellious thing that I just never got over. I never thought of the fact that I was so drawn to color and that it actually has meaning and impact and actually can influence things in my life. So going through and learning a little bit and doing the research of color and looking at Elizabeth's website was really a beginning very informative to me and enlightening, because I just thought it was me being still annoyed.
Right. And I know Elizabeth does have a ColorScope, like a color wheel sort of thing on her website, which can tell you, and I believe, I know you checked it out. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about it? I believe you pick a color and it tells you for the week. She has like a ColorScope weekly thing.
Every week, and she brings in, like the last week that I did it, she had happy birthday balloons, and there were balloons of all different colors. Now there might have been 5, I'm not really sure, but of those balloons you select a color, and then based on the color that you ended up selecting, she does an entire reading of like what that color actually means to you for you that week.
It's a week, so it's a weekly thing.
It's a weekly thing.
Okay.
And I have to tell you that every time I've done this, the other time it wasn't balloons. She had different color jewelry, because she does jewelry that are multicolored gems and things of that nature.
And this is free.
And it's free.
Okay.
And you go on her website and you look at the you pick, like that one, you picked a gem bracelet that resonated for you.
Whatever color.
Whatever color. And whatever color I actually picked was again something that was really
happening in your life for that week.
On the mark. So it was starting to make me think, wow, this is not just coincidental.
Right.
There's more to this than meets the eye. And so we're really hoping that you'll gain a lot of information, and it's very, very insightful because there's so much out there that people can really tap into. And that's really honestly, the reason why we do this, and because we want to let people know what's out there, what's available
There's
to
so
them.
many tools. There's so
Honestly.
many different tools, and
Yes.
I think that's really the purpose of our show each week is we're really sharing and imparting a different tool. There's so many out there. I mean, and you can choose, depending on the person, you can choose to use one tool. You can choose to use as many as you'd like, but they all are so so pure. So I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like going to a counselor and going to, you know, these
Right.
crazy things. I mean, these are all easy things that we can each use practically in our daily life.
And simple.
They are simple.
And then once you actually become aware of what is out there, for example, we're talking specifically about color. It's around us. It's there.
Color is everywhere.
Everywhere. And the tools that we hope that you take with you in becoming aware of color and how you can make subtle changes in your life, or maybe even dramatic changes in your life, are really monumental.
Yeah, it depends on the person and how severe you want to make a change in your life. So with the changing of the seasons, spring is almost here.
Hallelujah.
We're all so excited. I know with this horrible winter and all this snow, I'm about to vomit if I hear snow and ice one more time. But I think what's important is with all the colors that will soon be slowly emerging, it is important for all of us to get back into nature a little bit, start taking walks again, being out at least in the park, just do anything, you know, to be around color and to really absorb that energy again. It feels like it's been so long since we've had that essence out there. So, and again, do check out Elizabeth's ColorScope, which is on her website, which we'll be sharing at the end of the show. So
And do that, because if you do and you sign up for her newsletter, you will become eligible for a weekly prize. And they're really quite nice. So why not take advantage of that?
Why not? Exactly. So stay tuned. We are going to have Elizabeth Harper in just a moment. We'll be right back. And welcome back with What Matters Most. We're here with Elizabeth Harper. Elizabeth Harper is a teacher, color intuitive, and psychic artist. She's been featured in many magazines, including Women's World, Redbook, and Prevention Health. She's also the award-winning author of Wishing: How to Fulfill Your Heart's Desires. Her pioneering work with color inspired her uniquely revealing ColorScope, featured globally in print and online magazines. She is also a jewelry designer and is the founder of Sealed With Love LLC and co-founder of Spiritual Living, which is an online educational center. Wow, my goodness. Welcome, Elizabeth. You have quite an extensive background there.
Thank you for inviting me onto the show. And yes, I do cram it in. I'll tell you, I'm like a psychic octopus. I've got lots of things going on.
Honestly, my goodness. So tell me, how did this journey start for you? I mean, how did you start becoming an intuitive, and where did it all begin?
Well, it's hard to define because it's something that's always been there ever since I was a child. I was very lucky. My mother was one of the pioneers of yoga in Britain in the 50s and 60s.
Oh.
So when I was a child and I started to see auras and energies and people that had died, or I knew things about people, my mother understood it. She didn't say, oh no, don't be a naughty girl, then go to your room.
Right.
She totally embraced it, and she understood the colours that I saw. She understood people that had passed into spirit, mostly because it was a part of her as well. She had a psychic gift, psychic ability.
And that's interesting because normally parents, you would think parents wouldn't be so receptive and supportive for that. So that's really wonderful that she actually really enhanced and encouraged that.
And I think
definitely. I had a great start. But I didn't, it never occurred to me that this could be a job, a career.
Right.
But I could go along my path with this. It was just a part of my being and who I was. So I actually gravitated towards the healing profession. I trained as a nurse. I stayed in nursing, not for very long, just a few years.
Yeah.
And eventually I came to this place of thinking, and I don't know why this happened, but I feel like sometimes, you can go along a certain path and then somehow you hit some kind of energy that says, okay, it's time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got to start now. And I, in the 80s, And I wasn't that old, really. I was just in my 20s. But I had a very strong sense that I needed to get started along this path. And so I started training.
Really?
Yeah, I went to different classes, really, to help me understand what I was seeing, what I was sensing, what I was hearing. And there wasn't a great deal available at that time. I was fortunate because I lived in London.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the College of Psychic Studies, and at the College of Psychic Studies, you can't just sit in a development circle. You have to have an interview. It's like having a job interview.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I expected the teacher to say to me, okay, well, I'm just going to ask your guides what you can do. But instead, he said, so, what can you do?
Wow.
And, it's kind of an embarrassing moment.
Yes, it sounds a little
I
intimidating.
can do this, and I think I can do that. But
Right.
it was just like having a job interview. There were other people that wanted this one space. There was only one space.
Oh, my gosh.
Development circle.
Wow.
And he took me. So from that point on, I started to understand more about my abilities. My mother only had a limited understanding from a yogic perspective,
Okay.
let's say. So I learned more from a spiritualist and from people that were trained as psychics, as healers, intuitives, mediums, etc. So it's like a whole new world. My color world kind of opened up, which was great.
And that's really interesting because it seems to me even way back then, back in the 80s, when you started to really get focused on this journey, color was something that was always important and surrounding you.
Well, I'd seen auras since I was a child, and my mother explained to me from the perspective of the chakras what those colors meant, and from the perspective of healing what the colors meant. But when I went into nursing, I have to tell you, I started to see, it's almost like a whole new world. I just hadn't been exposed to the kind of emotions that nurses were bringing up every day. And again, I'm not sure what happened. It's almost like I came out of a protective environment and went into a different environment. I was almost 200 miles away from home. And it was just a different place. I was more vulnerable. And so I seemed to be more open to all these different energies. And that really piqued my interest. And certainly over the years, I took numerous different courses in how to understand the aura, how to see the aura, what the colors in the aura meant. Also color healing classes, trained as a color therapist and aura therapist. You name it. I've kind of gone that route.
Wow.
I have to say that at the end of the day, though, all you have to do is, in your mind, say, when you see a color, what does that mean? And then just see what comes to you. If I'd known that to begin with, I would have saved myself a lot of money.
Really? It's again another something that's very, very simple. It's just a simple question to ask yourself, but who actually...
I wouldn't think to do that.
No, certainly not.
It comes to you, but the answer comes to you. Just leave your mind blank. Because in any given situation, that color could mean something totally different. And especially if you're sensing it for another person. And also for yourself. If you put a color on, if you wear yellow, for instance, today, then you can say to yourself, why am I wearing yellow? And that question will trigger an answer from within that wise place that you can call your intuition, maybe your higher self, doesn't really matter, but it will trigger an answer.
If you put on a certain color in the morning, maybe there's actually a reason for it and we don't even realize it. So maybe if we were actually thinking about it and actually asking ourselves the question, we could actually learn a lot more about our thoughts and our processes that we don't even are conscious of.
You can. It can really tell you what's happening in your life in that moment. And you don't have to read in a book what a color means. You can look out at nature. So, for instance, red. If you look at a volcano, when it's puthering that lovely red juice, well, then it could be that. It's something that's really active. It's an active energy.
Sure.
If you look at the sky, it's blue. And if you're wearing blue, then maybe you're feeling expansive and calm. When you look at a beautiful blue sky, it makes you feel calm. So you can relate those colors to nature, and you'll get an understanding of what color means. But again, one of the best ways is just to say, what does this mean for me? Why am I wearing it? What you'll also find, especially with wearing clothes and colours each day, is that one day you look fabulous in one colour, and then the next day it just doesn't suit you anymore.
That's
and
true.
I do believe that it just clashes with your energy, and some part, again, of your innate intuitive ability is saying, this isn't right for you. Have you noticed that? When you wear a certain colour, one day it looks great, and the next day it just doesn't suit you?
I have, and I always wondered. I don't understand. I looked fabulous the other day, and now it's not. Now it's not completely meshing as well. But I guess I never really related it to maybe it's my mood, and maybe it's the change in my aura and my, what I'm emitting. So that's really I never really thought about it. I never thought about looking at it that way.
I have a question for you, Elizabeth. Let me ask you about color that surrounds your life. And I know you're talking about color and wearing it, but on a personal level, here's my question. I have found recently that I've been very drawn to surrounding my environment, my home, in soft beiges and very like neutral tones, but very soft and not overpowering. What does that mean? What would that mean as far as what I'm trying to bring into my life or what's going on in my life?
Well, there's a couple of things with that. The first one is it's like brown. If you think of the earth, the earth is very nurturing. When you plant a seed, that seed grows. It needs earth to grow. So some aspect of what you're doing is you're planting new seeds, you're nurturing, you're coming into a fertile phase, and you're looking at doing new projects and expanding. On another level with beige, it also means sensitivity. It means that you're becoming more sensitive and more psychic and more aware of your environment. And the environment has more of an impact on you as well. So there's a little bit of a protecting yourself within that environment too. And then there's another level to it, which is about wealth and about looking at ways to make money. But it's not like it's a heavy thing. It's not like you're in desperate need.
Yeah.
Well, it's just looking at different ways to bring more money in, more abundance.
That is totally amazing to me, Elizabeth, because I didn't know that. I don't know any of that information based on what
But my question is, how do you pull all, for me, obviously, I know you're the expert and I'm not, but how do you pull all of that just from a color?
Well, I've got a great deal of experience. I've been doing this for a long time. But also, I ask the question. So I ask the question, and then the information comes to me. So again, everybody can do this. You just ask a question, the information comes. But I also feel that because I've got so much experience, it's almost like triggering that experience and telling me which parts of those experiences are the right ones to mention. So it's like having keys on a keyboard of a computer. I know which keys to hit, and that information just flows through me, so then I can read what's written on the screen, let's say.
Wow,
does that make sense?
It does, but that's crazy. That's very in depth.
Well, Elizabeth, my other question to you is that I guess I made this change, and I was making this change as we started this new journey in our lives, and I guess I did it subconsciously and intuitively without realizing that. But what if I'm thinking that if you're aware of the impact of color in your life, you can actually start to bring color in on a conscious level. Yeah.
Purpose, with intention.
With intention and purpose. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Well, if you look at the chakras, if you know about the chakra colors, so they're the colors of the rainbow. If you want to bring something in, then you can use the colors of the chakras to help you do that. So, for instance, red is the root chakra. If you feel ungrounded, if you need to get a new job, if you need more security, more stability at home, then you can bring red into your life. Violet is at the opposite spectrum there as the crown chakra, and violet is very much about spirit and about developing your skills of connecting to your spiritual path. So then you can bring violet into your life. But of course, these colors, particularly violet, will help with transformation. It'll help with change. And it'll help you get rid of anything that just doesn't serve you anymore in your life. So you have to be a little bit careful with color because sometimes you're bringing those colors in and they have wonderful qualities, but they also have, domino effects on other aspects of your life that you may not necessarily want to change at this time. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And I have a question. What does blue mean? Because my husband wears blue all the time. I mean, I would say almost every single thing he has is blue. What does that mean?
Well, I have a good story about that. My husband was the same.
Oh.
Wore blue all the time. My husband Wayne, who is now a life coach, he is a former Marine. So, of course, that marine colour goes with the marine blue.
Sure.
But his whole wardrobe, when I met him, was blue. Everything was blue, jeans, shirts, everything. It was all plain blue.
Yes.
And I bought him a shirt that was a little bit camouflage-like. It had some leaves on it, and it was green and beige. And he said to me, I'm not sure I can wear this. It's all patterns and it's a different colour. But he wore it because, he loves me and bought it for him. He wanted to make me happy. And what's interesting is his wardrobe, as we grew closer, his wardrobe started to change. And if you look at his wardrobe now, it's got reds, it's got pinks, it's got yellows. It's got a full range of colours. Blue, quite often, and I have to say, blue was my school uniform, and I just didn't like blue.
Oh.
I never had anything blue in my wardrobe, and I really believed that it didn't suit me. And when I met Wayne, of course, he had the blue, and I had all the other rainbow colours. And over the years, he's come into the rainbow spectrum, and I've come into the blue. And blue quite often means, one of the qualities is control, is wanting to be in control of your life. But also it's a colour of communication. So Wayne is a very good communicator, and I always had a bit of an issue with communication. So it's like that part of me has opened up being with him, but it's opened up with colour as well. Understand?
Yeah, it crossed over.
That's amazing. Yeah, it is very it's very true. I agree with that analysis, definitely.
Elizabeth, you were touching on, before we went into the explanation about the color blue, I have to make a little mention also. You were saying that you grew up with wearing the uniform of the color blue and how you really shied away from it for years and years. I had exactly that same experience. I wore navy blue for like 8 years of my life, and I detest the color blue. And I went into every color possible, every possible color, and I still to this day have very little blue in my closet.
Isn't that funny?
It's funny.
It's so that I made it so that it just didn't suit me.
Yeah.
It didn't suit me at all, but it does now. So, and I do believe it's because I've brought it into my energy, and I believe that is a part of having been with my husband as well. I brought it into my energy field through him.
Well, hopefully over time I'll be able to bring in a little bit more blue into my life, because communication is something that's really important to us. So,
right.
Yeah. But you also talked
You can have a nice blue bubble bath. Get some of those blue salts and put them in your bath. So then you start to bring blue in a really gentle way. So you're not wearing it, but you're bringing it in a beautiful, almost like goddess way.
Or maybe even some cut flowers in the house, fresh. Yeah, in a subtle way, not anything that's really overpowering. I have to say that I also thought it was very interesting. Before we went to break, you started to talk about how we could, how do you focus on bringing color into your life, and looking at the chakras and the colors associated with each of them. And that was wonderful, because that's a very simple starting point, something that should be very easy for people to actually start to access and tap into. But you also mentioned to be very careful about the amount of color. Is there also a concern, because we were talking about the color violet and the crown chakra, I believe, and that, be careful because you have to use it in moderation. So maybe you can just give us a little bit of insight as to how to use that in moderation.
Well, I relate almost everything to food, because, unless you're a breatharian, you eat food. So if you imagine that you're on a diet, and it's a color diet, and you eat just one color, if you eat just one food, if you're constantly eating just lettuce, for instance, you're just having greens all the time, you're missing out on some of the other vitamins, some of the other nutrients.
Okay.
You need to bring color in a way that is in balance.
Okay.
But you can use a little bit more of that color to help you bring more of those qualities in. So what I was saying about violet, that violet is a color of transformation.
I see.
It helps you go from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So if you surround yourself with violet, it will help to transform your world. But then you have to be prepared to transform everything in your world.
Okay.
So, including relationships and all kinds of different things.
So you've got to be ready.
That's right. You have to be prepared. It's like asking for what you want. You know, are you actually ready to receive what you want? So it's just being a little bit conscious of how you're doing this and what you're doing. And you can look at the opposite of that color. For instance, violet, the opposite is yellow. So you can use it maybe in balance with that yellow. So it helps to balance out some of those effects of transformation. Yellow is the color of cleansing, of being out there, of no boundaries, of letting go, of being fearless, of being in your power. So you can use those two colors in conjunction, and it'll help you a little bit more with being ready.
Very interesting.
I have something that I want to touch on, and I think it's important with everything that's going on with our planet.
Yeah.
With everything going on with the recent tsunami in Japan and the earthquakes in Haiti, and I mean all this craziness going on all over the world. I understand that the Earth is going through a series of colors and vibrations and phases. What is going on with it? What color is the Earth in now, and how is this affecting our planet?
Well, we're in a violet phase. This is what happens.
A violet phase.
You know, nothing can be pushed under the carpet anymore. Any secrets that have been hidden, anything that's been kind of behind closed doors, it's all going to start coming out, and it has to come out in order for it to be cleansed. That violet, if you think of the spectrum, if you think of the chakras, red to violet, it's the last stage. So in some respects, it's like this is not our last chance, but it's just we're moving into a new phase, and we're cleaning up everything that needs to be cleaned up before we move into that new phase. So it is devastating, most certainly it is. But if we go back to that idea of we're becoming butterflies, we've been caterpillars, then you can't imagine what it's like to be a caterpillar. You can't imagine what it's like to be a butterfly. You can only imagine what it's like to be a caterpillar.
Right.
So we are moving as a whole being into a new phase of life. And that violet, it does bring out violent tendencies, let's say, but it's only because it needs to come out. It's not because this is going to take over the world. There has to be a change. And so violet is perfect at this moment. We will move into a new color, but it won't be probably for another 20, 25 years.
I see.
Let me ask, what color do you see then the planet going into after we get through all of this transformation and get through the violet stage?
Well, it's interesting because I thought we were going to move into a crystal color, but
Crystal
I've been
color.
feeling recently that it's going to move into indigo, and that's why there's such a big thing about indigo children, that they're being born, coming in, bringing that vibration with them so they can help to move the planet into this new color, into this new vibration. And indigo is very much about what you focus on, you manifest, and also that psychic abilities, intuitive abilities, telepathy, really linking with spirit as well, and seeing the divine and seeing the divine plan. So I feel that we're moving into an indigo phase, and then after that, a crystal phase.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So do you see, Elizabeth, then, does the Earth actually change color in its entirety, or do you see areas of it starting to move perhaps into indigo sooner than other parts? I mean, or is this just a massive change at one time, or is it regional? Maybe that's my question.
Well, what I'm being shown when you're asking that, I'm asking as well. Because because I don't think about these things. I don't ask those questions until I'm asked.
Okay.
So as you're asking, I'm asking. And what I'm seeing is I'm being shown. When you see those lava lamps?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you see kind of blobs of colour
Yeah.
that are moving through some other colour, and that's what I'm being shown.
Oh.
It's like there's blobs of indigo that come into the violet. So then eventually it all starts to come more into an indigo energy. So it's a gradual change.
Yeah, I was wondering, because what made me ask that question is, as a light worker, I was hoping that with this network of light workers spread out throughout the entire planet, that we were, positioned and stationed in a way to help maybe soothe the transition of color, in this case, on the planet, to make it go a little bit less painfully,
You're exactly right. If you weren't here, if you weren't doing that work, imagine what it'd be like then. You are totally doing exactly what you need to be doing. And I do believe that we are each positioned almost like on an acupuncture point of the planet, and we're bringing energy into that point, so that then we are lifting the energy of the earth, even though a lot of us are doing it from behind the scenes.
Yes.
But we have been born at this time. We agreed to be born. I believe this. You don't have to believe anything I say, by the way, but I do feel that we've been born at this time to, as light workers, we said we would come here and help the planet to lift into a new vibration. So we as healers are doing that. You are in exactly the right place. And we are all working towards this new energy, this new light. And it's coming from within us.
That very much resonates for me, Elizabeth, because I've always felt that it's as if you were to look at the planet, there was like a invisible grid, and that the light workers are strategically placed on this grid, almost as like network, holding it all together and doing its thing, and as you said, on a very indiscreet basis, we're just doing our own thing, but very much purposely positioned at a specific point on the planet.
That's exactly right. And so we're all doing it. All light workers, we've chosen to be here right now. And it's interesting, actually, a few years ago, about 20 years ago, I remember giving a reading to a lady who was a single mother, and she'd asked me why she was a single mother. Why wasn't she with someone? And what came to me was that there's going to, at that time, I don't think there were that many single mothers, but there was going to be an increase of single mothers because we needed to bring the goddess energy in. We needed to bring that female power back in.
Wow.
And it was kind of interesting to me that, again, when you ask the question, an answer comes through. And this plan of the earth moving into a new vibration has been in effect for a long time.
Yeah.
It's part of our, hesitate to say destiny, but it's a part of the destiny of the planet. It's almost like what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's all, there is no time, so it's all moving in exactly the right direction that it needs to move in, but it was also destined as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Very enlightening, Elizabeth, very much.
I have a question kind of bouncing off of what we were saying about how we've all chosen to be here during this hard time. And right now, everybody's kind of going through a hard time with the economic situation as it is what it is. What can we do if we want, let's say for everybody out there going on interviews, trying to get new jobs, is there colors that maybe people can wear to help them?
Enhance it.
Enhance whatever they're trying to go for.
The first thing is, with violet, because we're going through a violet phase, this is moving us into a new vibration of being less material.
Mm-hmm.
So we're letting go of anything that no longer serves us. We don't need as much around us. So we are coming, it's almost like becoming monks or something. We're not really becoming monks, but
Right.
moving into this new place.
Uh-huh.
So when you go for an interview now, it would be good to wear blue because blue is a color of communication. Face it, true blue, you are trustworthy. Blue you'll find on a lot of websites because, you know, it's a color that says, you can trust me, I'm honest, I'm giving you the truth.
I see.
Also, blue says you're a hard worker. If you're wearing blue, it will help you to communicate. It'll help you to speak your truth. But I'd also recommend that you have a little bit of violet somewhere. It could be violet underwear or something, but a little bit of violet in there somewhere as well, because those two colors together are very much about the guardian angel colors. So it's kind of bringing your angels with you as well, bringing your troop with you. And it's about your purpose. So it helps you to really reveal your purpose and show your true colors, who you are.
I see. I see.
Elizabeth, are there any specific exercises that someone can actually do to sit there and start to really focus in on color and learn how to bring color into their life to make change in whatever mannerism?
So, from a psychic perspective, when I was younger, I remember being tested with color, and what they did was they just put colored pens out.
Oh.
And then I ran my hands over the colored pens. I had my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And I would say what color I was feeling, because each color has a vibration.
Yeah.
The reds, oranges, yellows, a little bit easier to feel than the blues, violets, and green to a certain extent, because they're a higher vibration, so a little bit different. But that's a great way to start sensing psychically color. I would also, a way to bring color in for healing is to, well, on your bedspread you can have color. You can eat it, wear it, drink it. You can get colored bottles or colored glasses and put water in them, put them on the windowsill. The sunlight comes through them for 24 hours and then drink that water.
Oh.
It's solarized water. So it has the vibration.
Oh.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so you're actually ingesting it, and that would...
You're raising your own vibration and maybe enhancing your energy?
That's right. And also you could test yourself if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take those bottles and put them into little paper cups and write the colors on the bottom and then move them around like you're doing a little magic trick. And then try drinking one of them and see if you can sense the color as it's going down.
Yeah, I have a friend that had gone to an intuitive school in New York City, and he mentioned something very similar to what you're talking about, that one of the things that they had to do was the teacher actually had cut little pieces of paper. They were all different color paper, but they all were the same shape, and they had them in an envelope, and you had to feel them. You were blindfolded and feel what color it was. And I thought to myself, my goodness, how do you figure that out?
That's crazy.
When they're all the same shape, all the same texture. I mean, how do you decipher that? So it must be the same type of exercise in bringing your awareness to the vibration of color.
Well, you know, it's like anything.
Yeah.
I do believe that when you're psychic, it's like being an athlete.
Yeah.
So you might be a really good runner, or you could be a good high jumper, or maybe a shot putter. And it's the same with psychic ability. Some people are really good at sensing color. Other people are really good at sensing vibration. And others are really good at sensing, let's say, feelings. So we all work in different ways. So when it comes to color, sometimes it's best to try it in different ways. You could get some M&Ms and pick up an M&M, see if you can sense the color as it's in your hand, and look at it, you know, and then pick another one and put it on your tongue and see if you can sense the color, and then look in the mirror and see if you've got that color right.
Right.
And some people taste colors.
Oh.
So it's, you know, there are different ways. Some people feel it with their hands. Some people hear the colors as well. So you can have a friend that is holding a color, and then they're sending you the thought of those colors.
Wow.
You might pick it up with sound and telepathy.
Who ever thought there are so many different ways to view and feel a color? I mean, I think before this, I never thought about tasting color, It's really quite a new thought process.
So you can actually tap into that based on whatever sensory is the most heightened for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I teach a psychic development class, and I like to have fun. If you're going to develop psychically or doing any of this kind of work, healing, anything, it needs to be, as far as I'm concerned, fun. Because when it's fun, you let go your preconceived ideas, and you let go of your need to get it right, and you just have fun. And that tasting the color is one of the exercises that people really love.
Oh, absolutely. We become a child again. And you know what? At least you can now justify eating those M&Ms.
Absolutely.
As long as you have a good reason.
Well.
And ribbons as well. You can get a bag of ribbons and just see if you can sense the color as you're taking that ribbon out. And you can also put the colors on your body, because it may be that your hands aren't the way to sense it.
Yeah.
Be that putting it on your third eye is going to work for you, or putting it over your solar plexus.
You've got to experiment. It's basically what you're saying, experiment with it. But the first step is really to become aware of this. And I'm certainly hoping that everybody that's listened to this show has now a whole new perspective on the impact of color and what color can do for you. And now can start to really make a conscious effort to start to think, and what is it, how is it that I can bring color into my life, and what are the elements that really resonate the most for me.
And I think that's really important with the change in the seasons. It's almost spring. All this color is going to be so abundant. So I think this is the perfect time to kind of maybe play with it and see what we can start intentionally bringing into our lives with another tool of color.
Yeah, Elizabeth, we want to thank you so much for your time. And really, this has been such an educational experience for us. But before you leave, we want to ask you that question that we ask everybody, and that is, what matters most to you? What is it with your gifts of ColorScope and intuitiveness that you're looking to really make an impact on the world at this time?
Well, I want to have a coloricious impact. So it's really about being who I am. I feel that I shine my light, and my light is very colorful. And people can see that, I like to have fun, and I'm friendly, and I enjoy what I do. And Marianne Williamson says that when you shine your light, you allow others to shine their light as well. And I really feel that that's important. And that's the impact I want to bring to the world, just to help people to see that this is what it does for me, it can do it for you too. I'm here to help people awaken their innate gifts, and really everyone is special. So it's just allowing your true colors to come forth and shine your light and live your life on purpose.
Well, that was beautiful, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. And as we close, we'd like to remind our listeners that the simple things in life are what matters most. Namaste.
Namaste.